This is the free workshop on the perfect Amazon review. Hopefully, there are a few people on or will be joining in just a second. So give me a shout in the chat. I think we'll probably have a small, intimate group again. So welcome. Doug Cunnington, if people don't know me, Doug Cunnington, founder of Niche Site Project. I'll go through a little bit more of an intro shortly here, but welcome everyone and looking forward to going over a perfect Amazon review. And I've used this format a lot on all my sites. And in fact, a lot of other people use it too. So it works pretty well. You could actually give this sort of template to a writer and they should be able to, with a little tweaking, they should be able to write something pretty good for you as far as a product review goes. So I see a few people on. Just give me a shout in the chat. Say hello. Let me know you can hear me. That's always good. And let me know where you're from too. So John's on, Vance, Tom from Baltimore. Awesome. And yeah, like I said, I think it'll be a small, intimate group. And Vance from Las Vegas. I sent you an email, Vance, earlier today, so hopefully you got that. I was going to say it's a little sunny here today in Bozeman, Montana, but it's still a little chilly. I had to wear like gloves outside this morning. Martin from the UK, very cool. And yeah, awesome. Like I said, it's going to be a small group. I'm going to go ahead and get started. So if people show up late, they can catch up. There's always a little intro here. And Vance says, yeah, it's amazing that we still have snow. Yeah, and it's I was talking to my friend earlier, just before I hopped on here. The snow's melted like down here in the valley. It's going to be like 60 degrees today, like summertime, But in the mountains, there's still like a lot of snow, and it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And Tom signed up for the course last night. Fantastic. Good to have you on board, Tom. And let's get into it. So again, this is the Amazon affiliate reviews that convert. And basically, it's going to be a template that we're going to work through. It's actually in the course. And we'll go through, I'll show you a couple like real live sites where I sort of like reverse engineered this. Now, I know Ken says, is this live? It is live. I'm not sure why it said a replay, but this one here, this one's live, Ken. And I was going to say that I've been tearing down some larger sites on the YouTube channel. I think a lot of people here probably watch the YouTube videos, and you can learn a lot by looking at the bigger sites. I know there was at least one or two people who were discouraged by me reviewing larger sites, but why not learn from every source that you can? So, okay. And interesting, Ken. I'm not sure what the issue is. I know people can hear me since you've asked the question or answered the questions. And Ken says, and Kevin as well, you had to log in a few times and then it changed. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the issue is with that. So quick question. And like I said, since it's a small, intimate group, it'll just help me to get to know everyone. And Vance says you were in replay mode as well. Oh, crazy. Well, hopefully it seems like it's working kind of okay, at least for right now. So here's the question. Have you created a site before? Just let me know in the chat, and you all can get to know each other a little bit as well. Anne says everything's good. Okay, so I'm Doug Cunnington, founder of Niche Site Project, and I'm doing a lot on YouTube right now. This is my old dog here, Brody, over by the Beartooth Pass, which is kind of close to where I live. It's close to Yellowstone. And I have another dog now, Georgie. Brody died last year. It was very sad, but basically, it's really nice around here when there's not snow. I think there's probably like 12 feet of snow like in that area right there. So as far as my past track record, I've built several sites. I've coached a lot of other people, and I've done some like guest post and guest blogging on bigger sites, which I'll show you in a second. And I'm a project management professional, a PMP. So it's kind of the why should you listen to me section. And okay, so people are saying, Vance, you're working on your site now. Sandeep hasn't started a site yet. Kevin's on your second site. Awesome. And then John, you had a site years ago. And Martin says you have an Amazon affiliate site currently. Cool. And this may be sort of a redundant question. So, do you have a profitable site now? So, for the people that do have a site, is it profitable? How's it going? Okay, so I have been featured or mentioned on these sites here. A lot of them you will have recognized, and most recently on Social Triggers with Derek Halpern. I've been on a bunch of podcasts too, more and more as time goes on. Here's my timeline. So a lot of times people will just tell you about their biggest successes, and I try and tell you about those too, but I also let you know that there were many failure points. In fact, more failure points than like successes. And part of it is like you don't have to hit it out of the park every time, right? You just need to have a couple good wins, and whenever you make these mistakes, you learn. You try to not do those mistakes anymore. Sometimes you make them again, and then you realize, hey, I really need to learn from these mistakes. So the point is, I've been up and down. I've had, big successes, lots of failures, and I would try and learn from those mistakes. The Q&A is at the end, but since it's a smaller group, feel free to ask as we go along. If it doesn't interrupt the stride of what I'm saying, I'll go ahead and answer it. Okay, and Andrew says you're on your second site. Okay. Thomas says you have two sites that convert well but can't get enough traffic. Kevin says not really earning yet. Salim's on, hey, what's up? And Rose as well. And Kevin is talking about your first site. Okay, cool. So why niche sites? And by the way, this basically applies for like affiliate sites. So if you're used to the terminology of authority sites, a niche site is the same as an authority site. Perhaps depending on who you're talking to, they may mean something a little bit different, but in my opinion, it's just we're talking about Amazon affiliate sites, and a niche site or an authority site, basically the same thing in my opinion. When people say an authority site, they really mean just like a niche site that's a little bit bigger. They may apply some other different caveats or specifics to it, but in a lot of ways, it's just the same thing, an affiliate site. So for me, I really like the niche site model for someone like just getting started, right? So it's cheap and easy to get started. You could basically like launch a site with about $200 or so. You have to pay for some hosting, maybe a tool here or there, like a keyword research tool for a month or two, and then maybe a theme. But other than that, if you're doing the writing yourself, you could get it started by the end of the day today, right? You learn the ropes of like various, skills, right? So maybe you haven't written content before, or it's been a while since you've been doing much writing, so you can get your writing chops. You can learn about SEO, of course. It's a big part of what we're looking at. Additionally, just like domains and hosting and that sort of thing, or themes, right? Maybe you haven't used WordPress before and you learn WordPress. You learn about themes. Maybe you get into coding, and it's pretty interesting. Not everyone sticks with a niche site. Maybe they figured out that they don't like the whole thing together, but they're really good at SEO. And then a person can like open an SEO company or agency or freelance and sort of like take the skill that they learned through niche sites and just go specialize, right? So I've seen that happen a number of times actually. Now, the other thing is a niche site, while it's quick and easy to start one up, it could actually grow to a huge site. So I have a couple of examples of that. And if you just go look around, you can see that like every site starts small, right? Even the very big ones now, they start small and they can grow. Like the income, actually, if I tried to explain it to you and you haven't seen how much you can make with a site, it's shocking, right? It's can replace your full-time income. So you can grow these small sites, simple sites in the beginning to something much larger. Now you do have to have a plan to, go through this stuff. And, for the people that have enrolled in the course, you are now like, you have the plan. Like all you have to do is follow the steps. It's not easy, right? It's a lot of work. I'll mention that for sure. It's a lot of work, but no individual step is actually that difficult. It's just, sticking to something for a long time to get, you know, all the steps done in the right order. That's more difficult, right? But each step is actually fairly straightforward. You do need to have a plan, but before we get into any of that sort of stuff, what we're really looking at today is like the review, right? So we're looking at the perfect Amazon review. So without further ado, let's get into it here. So this is sort of like the high level view. So we're going to zoom out. And this is what it looks like. I don't have the link handy, but I have the link to an image somewhere that I can, I'll post it in the chat in a bit, but it's on Niche Site Project. Basically, this is the template in each one of the sections we're going to go through. So just really quickly, it's the article title, which is the headline. Essentially, you have an intro paragraph, some image near the top. I kind of like a half width image. A comparison table is great to have. You don't have to have it, but it's great to have. And then key features, right? So I put 2 paragraphs in there, but obviously products have more features, right? So you could list as many as you want, but I would at least put 2. And then features and specs for each model if you happen to be reviewing, multiple products or something like that. A section on the user or customer impression, sort of like the review section, will look a little bit deeper. And then finally, the conclusion. So that is what it consists of. And it's modular, right? So you could do a review on a single product or many products and use this format. You can, well, I guess that covers one to many, right? So it's versatile. And if you want to expand it, right, you can add more features, right? You could add more products and just have it grow. So you have really long form content. So first, the title or the headline. And we'll look at some examples too. So I'm going to talk about like what it should be, and then we'll look at some examples. So you don't want to go to like salesy or over the top. You don't want it to be like clickbait or anything like that. So if you are drawing someone in, you do want to make sure you're, not misleading the person in any way. So a lot of times a really good format is like, what's the best product type for a certain type of user? And that would be something like, what's the best action camera for wakeboarders, right? There are a few other formats, so like best and then the product type, or what product type should I buy? Maybe like reviews for a particular year. I typically don't put in the year. That's an optional thing, but some sites do that for like every single like headline. So here's a quick example, and I took these from the wire cutter over on the left side here, and then Outdoor Gear Lab for the right side. So basically, you can just go to bigger sites and see how they are naming their posts, right? So this is just the headline. In WordPress, this would be the H1 tag. So, I mean, this is pretty straightforward, and it follows the format that I just mentioned before. So I'll just read one of them out, but I won't read them all. So it's like the best Wi-Fi router, and in parentheses, it says for most people. So it's like best product type for a certain type of user. So it straight up just follows that format. And, for most people is the most generic thing you could use, but you could have like, best Wi-Fi router for large offices, something like that, right? So a specific application or a specific type of user. Next thing is the intro paragraph. So my general recommendation and format would be, are you looking for the product type for a specific kind of user or application? Then you're in the right place. The idea is you want to qualify the person immediately so they know they're in the right place. You probably have a pretty good idea how they got to that point because you were targeting a specific keyword, so you know what they probably searched for. Now, if you're searching for best Wi-Fi router for large offices, then if I see that in the first sentence and it's like, oh, you're in the right place, well, I'm like, oh, I'm in the right place. I'm going to keep reading. Now, that's sort of the format that I use, but you should definitely put in your own words, in the voice of whatever your site is. So I think other like relatable information is helpful if you could like sort of hook them into a story somehow from a copywriting perspective. That could be really interesting. Now, the other thing, this is more on the conversion side of the house, but I do like to have a call to action with an affiliate link in the first, few sentences. So in the first paragraph, some people just want to like get over to Amazon and buy something. Now, good example of, why that may happen is I was like looking for a new external hard drive. Mine are old, and I go to Amazon and I'm like, oh, external hard drive. There's like 4,000 choices, right? It's really hard to sort through and figure out which one I need to get. So maybe I Google it, look for, best hard drive for, you know, video, something like that. So best hard drive, and then I get to some site, they have a few recommendations, and really I just want someone's recommendation quick. I don't really need to know all the details, right? So some people are just in a hurry and they want a quick way to get over to Amazon. So that's why I do recommend putting a call to action early. And further, if you go take a look at the Wirecutter, they put an affiliate link, right? Obviously, I have the arrow there for you to see. I mean, they put an affiliate link like in the first like paragraph. So some people just want to get over to Amazon, just want to make the purchase. They just don't want to look at all the results on the Amazon side. Next, an image. So a couple things an image will do. Number one, it breaks up the text and it encourages the reader to sort of like scroll down a little bit faster. And once you start scrolling, you're probably going to keep scrolling. So that's good, right? So people will consume more content. And the other part is, depending on what the image is, it shows the person like what the product looks like or something related to the product. And it tells the person they're in the right place. Again, you have that first sentence or so where you're trying to qualify the reader, you're hooking them in, like you're in the right place because you're looking for a router for a large office. So that's confirmed. And maybe in the image, maybe it's a picture of a large office with a router, or maybe it's just a router, but you want to show them that they're in the right place. Me, I usually use a half width image that has a caption and that contains an affiliate link like in the caption. So other sites like the Wirecutter, they'll actually use like a more feature rich sort of call to action, but they have sort of a half width image. They have affiliate links in various places. So that button is an affiliate link. The text is an affiliate link. The image is an affiliate link. And I usually just do the text. I don't do buttons. I sometimes have images as affiliate links, but for me, text is fine. I just keep it simple, and you don't necessarily have to have the image as an affiliate link. So, and I see the question over there. Tom says, how do you pick which products to recommend? So typically I'll look for like stuff with good reviews. So 4 to 5 stars typically. And the other part that I look for is a variety of prices. So I'll pick some that are like on the top range of whatever the product is, and some that are on the lower end. The reason being is some people want to always buy the cheapest thing. Maybe they're budget constrained. Maybe they just like a deal. Or some people just like to buy the most expensive thing they could possibly get. So if you show a range, that's a good thing. It also, if you have something really expensive, maybe people don't buy that one, but when they see the price of it, maybe the second place one will be purchased, right? The second highest price will be purchased more because of price anchoring. So you can sort of arbitrarily choose. All right, next is a comparison table. So a table is a great way to illustrate and summarize data in a small area. So if you look at like great websites, a lot of times you're going to have tables to compare different products. Additionally, if you go to like a manufacturer's website, a lot of times you will see a table so you can tell what, you know, um, the differences are between different products. Anyway, so if you're reviewing more than one product, a comparison table is really great to have because you'll probably be able to, show people at a glance information about the products. Now, Outdoor Gear Lab is awesome at comparison tables, and same with Baby Gear Lab. They're owned by the same people, and they summarize the data really well. They also show like these top picks and editors picks, which is a little bit hard to see, but they have awards here and they're just their own awards that they give. So as I mentioned before, they have the editor's choice, which is often more expensive, and then they have the best buy, which is sort of the economic choice. Next, and by the way, there's even more information on this table. I just didn't have room to put it here. You don't have to have anything that complex. You don't have to put the images in there. You can, organize your table however you want. A good place to get ideas is to go to Amazon and see if they have a comparison table. So often Amazon will have a comparison table. Like if you're looking for hard drives, they'll show you other similar hard drives and sort of like the differences in some of those products. So next is features. And this is like one of the most expandable sections. So like I mentioned, I show that image with just 2 features that you could talk about. That's really the minimum you should have, but you could have an unlimited amount, right? You can, if it's like a complex product, like a car or something, I mean, you could almost endlessly go on and on and on about the features, focusing on the interior, the engine, safety features, luxury features, stuff like that. And it would be, something you could write a book on, right? So you really can make it as long as you want. Now, I don't think you should make it super long in the beginning, right? If you're just writing the content or just getting it done, you should, aim for something reasonable, right? You shouldn't think I need to write 10,000 words or anything. You could come back and add to it later. Now, some people are thinking if you have like a dozen features, it's going to be too long and people won't care. But if someone's looking to buy something, they're probably interested, right? Depending on what it is, a potential owner would want to know about it. And, if they're obsessive and they're reading a whole lot of stuff, they're going to read a lot. So, and I could personally tell you when I actually was looking for like, a new digital camera, I was really interested in all the features and all that stuff was important to me. So I did read a ton of stuff, watched YouTube videos and so on. Now, let's take a look at this comfort section on Outdoor Gear Lab. So this is hiking boots. And as noted here, like there are more than 3 paragraphs talking about the comfort of the boot. And for each one of the boots, they have like multiple sections, right? And each one of the sections is multiple paragraphs. So you would think like you couldn't write that much about the comfort. You could just say it's comfortable or it's not comfortable. But they wrote a lot, and you can sort of get ideas if you go to a site like Outdoor Gear Lab, like what are they talking about? Like how are they making this more relatable? How are they being specific about like the feature and how well it performs? So I know sometimes people are thinking, I can't write anymore about like a specific topic. There's nothing more to say about it. There's always a way to like expand on it, or a simple idea, comfort, right? They're writing hundreds of words about it. So a couple questions popped up over here, and I see Rose says, do you add view on Amazon on the image? No, I don't. Martin says, isn't there a risk of overdoing the affiliate links? Yes. What's a good standard number of links per article? Well, you shouldn't really look at it as per article. You should look at it as per number of words. So I agree with what you're saying. So I prefer to get someone who is actually interested in the product. I don't want to hit someone over the head with affiliate links and be pushy, right? So I usually have like one affiliate link for every 250 words or so, and less is more, right? If you have the right visitor on your page and you have, good information, they will want to go over to Amazon. You won't have to like force the issue. So I say less is more. And I mean, if you have like three good calls to action, right? At the beginning, the end, or sorry, at the beginning, the middle, and the end, maybe in the middle, it's not even a call to action. Maybe it's like the table or an image or something like that. Then you should be good to go. So yeah, less is more, Martin. Last question I see that's current is from Thomas saying, I have EZAs on pop-up with Amazon info links that appear when they hover over the photo. Is it old school? I don't know. I don't know if it's old school. I don't do that. I don't like the user experience. It's sort of slow and clunky when I see it on the site. But if you like it and you think it's working well for you, then you could stick with it. Personally, I would just remove it and have like have a call to action with text. All right, next. I see Vance has a question, but I'm going to hit the next one. So features and specs for each model. Now, if you're just doing a single product review, then you don't have to list out multiple models. It doesn't make sense. But if you are reviewing more than one product in a single article, then you could break out each model and describe it in detail. And it's a great place to add images for each of the models if you want. By the way, I typically just use the site stripe. So I know people are often concerned about the size of the image. I find it doesn't matter that much. And I just use the site stripe. So the images may not matter as much as we think they do, as long as there's some image. In fact, sometimes I don't even put an image of the product, but you can if you want. So you can explain the features and the benefits and provide the technical specs for each one of the models. So again, when we're thinking about content and like making long form content, if you think about it that way, right? Let's say you have 5 features that you've talked about for hard drives, right? Then you're able to talk about how a specific model has or doesn't have those 5 features or how it performs. So at that point, even if you're only writing, one sentence for each one of them, you have a couple hundred words there, right? I mean, being brief, not giving any like deep explanation, you have hundreds of words for each one of the products. So again, if you go a little bit deeper, if you refer back to the Outdoor Gear Lab example for the Comfort, where they wrote 3+ paragraphs on comfort of a single boot, I mean, you could come up with some stuff. So the Wirecutter usually has 2 or 3 models, not a huge number, which is good because you don't want to overwhelm the visitor with too many choices. But they usually categorize each one of their choices. So for example, this action camera, like best action camera, I think is what they're targeting here, but they have the best action camera for most people. And then they have action camera on a budget. And then they have best video quality with 4K footage, right? So they have different classifications based on what they know about the user. So that's important to think about. Again, some people always want to get the cheapest thing. Some people always want to get the most expensive, and it's great to give them a choice. Now, Vance is asking, is boldface type readable by both the visitor and Google? You know what? I'm not sure, but I don't think it matters. Obviously, it's readable by the by the visitor. If Google wanted that information, I'm sure they could tell if it's bold or not, but it's kind of irrelevant. But maybe you have some subtext in that question. So if you want to follow up with anything, but it doesn't matter if Google, it's not going to help you. All right, next is customer or user impression. So customer reviews and user reviews are one of the reasons why Amazon like really took off in the product area, among other reasons. But people want to hear what a product is like from real users. They want authentic and honest reviews. And it used to be like pretty hard to find. I kind of remember a time before the internet where you could just maybe get a little like sales blurb about the features and stuff, but you couldn't really hear from other users that have had, hours on a product and stuff like that. So what you want to do here is mention what the owners think about the products, and your readers are going to enjoy that. So most of the time you won't have access to the actual product. Not everyone can afford to like buy all the products and stuff like that, right? So what you don't want to do is like just copy the reviews from Amazon, because that'll get you in trouble. You'll run into like copyrights issues because Amazon owns that information. So it's also against the terms of service for the Amazon affiliate program. So that's a good way to get kicked out. So don't copy the reviews. But here's what you can do instead. You can read and research the reviews on Amazon and then summarize the information, right? Additionally, right, you can go research all over the place, right? You can go to the manufacturer's website. They may have reviews too. You may go to forums. Forums are a great place to get like real like user information. Like a lot of times people are like really obsessed, but if they joined a forum on a topic, they're going to be really into it. Or, I don't think Facebook groups necessarily have so much on like the user experience, but maybe you can find some information. The point is go and research all of the places that you can, and then you could summarize, put things into your own words, and that is okay. All right. Now, one really cool thing, and I think I may mention this, but Rose is asking, can I put the link of the page reviews? Yes, you can do that. You could put the link, an affiliate link to the reviews page. And this is, like I said, I may mention this somewhere, but that's a very effective call to action, because you can say, check out real user reviews on Amazon, right? And then that's your affiliate link. They go read the reviews, and then they can read it like firsthand. So that is one of the most effective calls to action that I use, right? Next, the conclusion, and this is where you can summarize the overall review. I like to have another call to action kind of at the beginning of the conclusion. A lot of people skim content when they're online. Just in general, they do. And it's highly likely that people will read like the conclusion, and having the call to action there is a good way to get people over to Amazon. So you can make the conclusion long if you want to, like several paragraphs, or really short. It's really up to you. Now, most of the time, I sort of summarize the points, from above. So if you think back to, writing essays when you were in high school or college, a lot of times, that's what you would do in the conclusion. You just summarize what you've talked about already. So that's just my style, but you don't have to do it that way. Now, let's take a look at the Wirecutter here. So they kind of wrap it up. And they talk about, in this case with the action camera, they talk about like the future of what's maybe coming out in the near term. And then they do have a call to action at the very end with one of their feature boxes, the image, they have the text link, and they have the button. So that's, very effective. Obviously, they find that call to action to work well. So I don't think we're going to have time to do too many examples here, but what I'll show you is a bad example. So the good example, actually, maybe we'll have time. Let's see what we can do here. Let me know in the chat. You guys want to see the examples or no? And I'm going to answer some questions while you answer that. All right. Kevin says, out of curiosity, is it a bad idea to use H4 tags for the boldness in a paragraph? You know what? I don't know, Kevin. I've never thought about that. I'm not sure why you would do that, but if you wanted to, you could try it. Vance says, when Wirecutter does a comparison review, they're going after multiple keywords, right? I don't know. If yes, can that work for a much smaller site like ours? Or should we limit that review to a single KGR, keyword golden ratio product? So, Vance, I'm not sure. I think your question is making some assumptions that may or may not be correct. So I'm not sure we can draw conclusions based on like what you're asking. But if you're doing a keyword golden ratio term, then and it's a product, it's a single product that the person's looking for, then yeah, you would just do the single product. However, if it was best hard drive for video, the example I gave before, then potentially you could have 3 different hard drives. Again, economic model, an expensive model, and maybe like a rugged model, right? So if someone's going to bang it up, I ended up getting one of these lacy hard drives here, right here, which are very rugged. Apparently, you can drop them, although I'm going to try not to do that. But apparently, they're pretty good, and I needed one so that when I travel, on my laptop, I don't have a big hard drive, so that if I'm doing video, I can transfer it over and hopefully have a backup. So anyway, Vance, if you want to reframe that question, let me know. Same with Kevin. I'm not sure. I think with H4, and I see what you're getting at, you're trying to control the boldness in a paragraph, but and get some SEO benefit from it. But I would just say, just use the subheading. I mean, just use the subheading and like do it like that. To have the subheading with something keyword rich and the boldness in the paragraph, the boldness is just going to be fine. So if you use the terms well, right, then you should be targeting and hitting all the marks so you can be relevant. Okay. People do want to see the examples, so we'll do it. Let's do it here. All right, let's see if this opens up in a new tab. Yeah, okay. So here is a bad example. So here is the deal. This is a bad example. I'm just going to open this up a little bit so we can get the full view. So it is responsive, right? So this is how you could test the responsiveness, by the way. So if it's very narrow, you can see it went to this little menu here. So at least their theme is good, and you'll see the images resize, right? So that's kind of cool. And when it opens up, when it's wide enough, we have the full menu here. So really why we're looking at it. Okay, so here are I'm going to go quickly again so we don't run out of time here. So number 1, they don't have any affiliate links until I'm still scrolling. No affiliate links, right? This is a link to a government site about car seats, which is helpful, right? That's good to have. But now this right here, the Bretax Marathon is the first affiliate link right here. And we're like 3/4 of the way down the page. So that indicates that someone would have to read 3/4 of the page before they could even click the affiliate link. And if you just had like one at the top, it would probably boost the click through over to Amazon a tremendous amount. Just people don't consume like 100% of the content very often. So that's one of the reasons why you do want to have a call to action early on. As far as, some good things that they're doing, they are using these as subheadings, right? So these are questions. This is sort of the FAQ method that I talk about. So essentially, these are probably good long tail keywords, right? So these are good, and that seems fine. Now, I'm just going to scroll down here. So they have a bunch of different products that they're mentioning. They have the images over here, which are affiliate links. But in this case, it'd be great to have the comparison chart. And by the way, if anyone hears the barking, Georgie is at my feet here. She's barking. She's dreaming. Can you hear that? Can you hear her barking? So the comparison table would be great on this page. They put it on another page here, probably because they loaded it with affiliate links. So if you have too many affiliate links, it's not a good thing. So, and it turns out like their table is probably moderately helpful, right? I mean, they have decent information in here, but they should put it on their main page over here. That's really what I would recommend. And there are many other, sort of issues that they have, but like, yeah, just it's a little weak just overall. And my biggest complaint is like you have to go so far down before they even have one affiliate link, and that's just not great. It's not great. This is a completely different format, and it's not wrong, right? So this is an FAQ format, which is a great way to start, but you'll notice that they do talk about the features, but they bake that into the question, right? So they talk about the features, they talk about the different models, but in this format, it's just a little bit harder to follow. And one of the things that makes the template effective is you can give it to a writer and then they see how to, format the content so that it's easy to follow. And again, I researched a lot of different reviews and sites, and that's how the template came to be, right? Versus if you just have questions, it may not follow along in a way that's like drawing people in. So, all right. So this is the bad example here, and the good example is the wire cutter. So let's look at that. And by the way, if you just want to see like best in class like content, the approach, now you can't like just go and replicate the wire cutter because they're bigger, but you can get good ideas. So this is where a lot of the examples in the presentation came from. So best action camera. And at this point, it's probably been updated. You see, updated March 29th, 2018. And, there are new versions out there of GoPro. So they've updated it. Now, again, we see like a link here, an affiliate link right up front. They tell us it's been updated, and then they have an updated feature box here. They have Target and Amazon, right? So if people are into Target, then you're able to order from wherever you want, and it's the same price. So maybe you could pick it up at your local Target. Maybe that's why someone would make such a choice. Anyway, since we've gone through a lot of the specific information here for this specific review, I'm not going to go through the whole thing. It's very long too, but I encourage you to check it out. Just best action camera over on the wire cutter, and you'd be able to see how they've updated it and changed it and stuff like that. So from here, let me know other questions you have. And as we are closing out, I will mention 5-Figure Niche Site. I know we have a few students that just enrolled, so welcome folks that are in the class. I'm looking forward to working with you. And if you're not in it, you should consider it. I'll quickly go over like some of the high level stuff. So actually this could be a little helpful even for the people in the course. So this course has been refined over a few years, and I've had, I think, over 100 students like go through the material. So I feel pretty good about it. I'm constantly refining it. In fact, the meeting that I was in before this was around, updating some material. And, the other advantage, this is behind the scenes, but I get questions, right? We get email questions often, right? As part of the course, that's one of the main things you get in the course, is like to be able to interact with me. And I have one person that helps me with some email support, my friend Thais. And basically, we see common questions. And if I see a question enough, then I know, well, is that part of the course not clear? Do I need to make it more clear? So, because we've had so many students go through over time, we know what works, we know what isn't working as well. And we also know, like, hey, I need to go and make this little section a little bit more clear. Maybe the phrasing is off or something like that. So at this point, I'm like looking at that sort of minutia where I can go back and say, all right, I need to tighten up this section so it's more clear. So anyway, Unit 0 is setting the stage. And as soon as you enroll, you get access to this. Units 1 and 2 go over keyword research, competition analysis, and niche selection. So a lot of stuff happens in that period of time. There's a lot of material. There's tools and spreadsheets to do the competition analysis. I give a lot of stuff away. The competition analysis is one thing that I don't just, give everybody on YouTube or anything like that. That's sort of, an important piece of the puzzle. Next is units 3 and 4, that's setting up your site and then getting started with content. Unit 5 is actually applying to the Amazon Associates program. Fairly straightforward, easy to do if you have, set up your site properly, if you have the prescribed content. Unit 6 is all about promotion and outreach. Really, it's link building when it comes down to it. The bottom line is it's link building. Unit 7 is scaling and growing. So once you have your site running, how do you make more money, basically, right? It's a fun hobby, but we obviously are doing this to make some money as well. Unit 8 goes over gray hat strategies, namely PBNs and Web 2.0. I don't recommend those. However, right, I just actually had a call with a premium member student from last time. And he was like, well, why do you go over that if you don't recommend it? Well, there's two reasons. Number one, it can work, right? So if you are advanced, right, this is in the advanced section. If you're advanced and you want to experiment, perhaps PBNs could be interesting for you. Now, the other thing is we can learn from what gray hat techniques are working, right? So if PBNs are working, if some use of Web 2.0s are working, it's powerful to have the knowledge of what other people are doing, right? Even if you don't apply it yourself, you can combine ideas, right? So if you see that, people are using private blog networks and it's working well, but you don't want to do that, that's okay. You can still see how they're implementing it and potentially get ideas for yourself. Additionally, just knowing the vocabulary of like what else is out there in the SEO landscape is valuable. So that's why Unit 8 gray hat strategies are in place here. Unit 9 is all about expert interviews. And these are successful niche site owners. Some people have portfolios. It's a wide range of folks. Each one of those are 45 minutes to an hour. Most of them are about an hour. Unit 10, these are newer and more advanced. Like you probably don't need these for like the first year. So Unit 10 is list building, right? So I love email lists. It's very interesting. You get into copywriting and stuff there. Unit 11 is beyond Amazon. So these are other affiliate programs that you maybe would take a look at. And maybe a company doesn't have an affiliate program and I give you a strategy to hook up with them and see if you could work together. Last, Unit 12 is a 6-figure exit, and it's selling a site the right way. So luckily, fortunately, I feel lucky that I was able to sell a site for over 6 figures. So I went through the process, I documented it, and I sort of take you through what you would need to prepare for, leading up to it, 6-8 months ahead of time, right? You probably can't turn around and just sell a site for 6 figures. You have to have proof of earnings for a long time. You need to, have it in a neat bow so that you can sell it effectively. So if you're interested in the course, if you're interested in checking out, more of the details and stuff like that, you can go to fivefigurenichesite.com. I think if you're here, you probably got notified about it. Enrollment is only open until the end of day tomorrow. So I guess there's about 36 hours or something like that, if I'm doing the math right. So Friday, end of day for US Mountain Time, which is, I think it's GMT -6 at this point in time. I think that's right. But anyway, if you're interested in it, you should take a look at the course, and we'll get to more Q&A right now. All right. So Vance says, you have 6+ products to review. How would you structure the pages? One long page or a category page with shorter articles? You ask because some products may be worth mentioning, but not worth a really long post. Vance, I would put it on one long post, and have, each of the products as a subheading. Exactly that. In general, I'm very much in favor of longer form content. So even if it seems like it's too long, if people are interested, if you have the right visitor, then they will be into it. So they'll be interested. Not everybody's going to want to read about all the products, but probably a couple of them. So if you put them in there, they'll probably have a look. And if you're, if it's written well, then they'll be interested to read it. So any other questions out there? Boy, my voice is really scratchy today. Any other questions? Well, thanks everybody for hopping on. Again, we had a small, intimate group. I tried something a little bit different in this series of free workshops over the last 6 weeks or so. Previously, I was basically hitting up a Facebook group and just sharing the webinar link in there, which, was fine, but I was curious to see what would happen if I didn't do that. And, there's fewer people. Not everyone is interested in all the topics anyway. But it looks like we have about 20 folks, and it's sort of nice to have this away from the regular YouTube crowd. I know a lot of people do hop on YouTube, and sometimes the questions, they're not very good. I know there's the old adage of there are no dumb questions, or there's no bad questions. Sometimes there are. I'll just say sometimes questions are not that great. And it's not that this may be a small rant, and then I'll answer these couple questions. But basically, if people, no one here, by the way, everyone here is awesome. But if you are on YouTube and you've seen me probably get slightly frustrated if someone asked a question that they should look up on their own and could have easily gotten an answer, that they're just not working hard. They're kind of being lazy. And those questions happen often. So you know what? Maybe it's probably me. But anyway, the quality of questions in these live workshops, much higher, right? This is much more of a pleasure to do here. Okay. Vance says, do I put a table of contents with anchor links? No, not usually, but sometimes I do. Those are fine to do, especially if you have long form content. So feel free to do it. One thing that I would caution you with is I have seen like a table of contents that is huge, right? It's way too detailed. So I would just make sure it's like concise enough that it's not going to take up too much room. And it was sort of an extreme example where I think the table of contents went down to like the H4 tag or something, and it was a very long post, so it took up tons of room. Andrew says, your affiliate site, or sorry, your affiliate style is a blog style website. What is the ratio of links you should build to the homepage versus individual blog post reviews? So you have some flexibility on this. I haven't done any like strict testing or anything like that. And I've sort of shifted, right? So upon further research, I do recommend maybe like 35 to 60% of your links to your homepage, and then the rest of the links to individual reviews, right? Or wherever you're link building, right? And I would recommend most of the time you're probably going to want to have like brand related um, anchor text to your homepage. So, that's probably what you were getting anyway. But yeah, previously I was recommending a lot more to individual posts, but there's a big range that I just gave, right? 35 to 60%. But if you do look at bigger sites, then you could see that a lot of, like, if you look at Niche Site Project, not a bigger site, but if you look at Niche Site Project, most of the anchor text to the homepage is like Niche Site Project or Doug Cunnington or, nichesiteproject.com. But most of the time it's just the brand. Yep. So cool. Any other questions before we finish up here? Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for hopping in. If anyone has questions about 5-Figure Niche Site, feel free to shoot me an email. If you go to 5figurenichesite.com, you're able to, there's like a support email address. So if you have any questions, or there's a little chat thing. So you can just click on the chat, send your question over if I'm not sitting there live, which I'm usually not, and then I'll reply back pretty quickly. So if you have any questions at all, feel free to ask. If anything is unclear, if you're not sure if the course is good for you. So, all right, cool. Thanks everyone. We'll catch you next time.